Speaking of on excitement, I, like you, am a big fan of GPT-5. I think that it's an impressive leap forward. So I did an episode on GPT-5 recently, episode number 916, and in it, it's a pretty positive review. W- a lot of people have been pretty negative about the GPT-5 release. The cover story on The Economist the week that you and I are recording is about how, you know, LLMs are plateauing and what does this mean for the trillions of dollars that have flowed into the stock market and are being invested in AI systems. The Economist article is talking about how there's no longer so much hype around godlike AI systems coming around, and I I don't really get how GPT-5 has changed so many opinions around this because your own benchmarking. So on the CodeRabbit blog, you have a post which I'll have in the show notes called "Benchmarking GPT-5: Why It's a Generational Leap in Reasoning." And you describe GPT-5 in that article is delivering this significant leap forward. So, what, in your view, is so great about GPT-5, and how is it a big leap forward and not just the kind of minor incremental gain or even step backward that so many critics have come up with?
So when I'm reviewing that, I'm reviewing it right from our perspective in our particular use case, and we use the reasoning aspect of it pretty heavily when it comes to the code review process. Like that system is that ability to reason through is extremely important when it comes to trying to find errors that might cross a lot of different pieces of the context window. So the reason why I call it generational leap is because the gains in our evaluations were so significant that I hadn't anticipated it, right? So the system that we go through every time we're evaluating prompting, we're evaluating new models, we're trying out new ideas, we have a set of PRs of pull requests that are designed to be difficult. And I was getting, when I first got joined CodeRabbit, we were getting maybe 5 or 6 of those really hard PRs correct at that particular point in time. And we've been steadily increasing that by doing better context engineering and doing better things with where we're pulling data from and how we're doing our prompting and this and all kinds of different things. And so we get that up to maybe 10, right? And 10 things that we're getting correct out of 25 of these hardest PRs. We have many more in terms of overall, but these are like the hardest set that we could come up with, and we sort of pruned it down to. And then we see Opus come out and Sonnet 4 come out, and it goes up to about 12. So this is a pretty big jump. And then we go to GPT-5 and we goes up to anywhere, depending on, again, non-determinism, goes between 18 to 21, correct, out of this 25. And that's a massive jump. I mean, I can't deny that that's a massive jump. And so I see this and we start going like, okay, something wrong. That's our first interpretation, is that something's wrong, right? We're like not getting this right. And so we do a deep dive into it. And ultimately we see some really interesting things when it comes to the way that it reasons and the way that it follows the path of code through multiple files across many, many different lines, pulling in context in different places. And really, I saw some things so I taught in college logic as a class when I was doing grad school. And I saw some things in there that human beings have a hard time doing when it comes to logical thought of you have a set of axioms and I'm following these logical rules to reach a conclusion. And I saw some things in there that I thought were interesting and that I hadn't seen from other models before. Being able to use a negative in a chain of thought I hadn't seen before. So the fact that this thing over here doesn't exist implies the following things to happen as a result of multiple levels of logic deep. And I was like, that is really cool. That was something that I thought stood out to me as like almost right away with some of the examples, but also just being able to say, if I assume that you fixed the bug that I reported earlier, then the following things have to happen. Again, that sort of multi-layered assumption, changing your worldview by shifting your axioms, is a difficult thing even for a human being to do, right? And so I saw this happen again and again and again, and that's where I started to be like, this is really interesting. And I just saw things that I didn't see in other systems. The hallucination rate also dropped dramatically. The negative sentiment that we got in response to this dropped dramatically. And so all these things combined, and I was just like, this for us, this is a massive leap forward.